All right, let's take a look at the heart. In this video, we're just going to talk about the main vessels that are entering and exiting the heart and the chambers and the valves. All right, so when we're looking at this right here, what we're going to take a look at is just the pathway of blood as it enters the right side of the heart. So on the right side, we have the two brachiocephalic veins, which look very short right here. There's going to be a video of it on the actual Wireman that's just a little bit better. Combined, as they merge together, they turn into the superior vena cava. The superior vena cava is going to drain all of the deoxygenated blood from your upper body. As it enters into the right atrium right here, you'll notice that here's a right atrium, and in the back, you'll also receive blood from the azygos vein right here. So here's azygos, superior vena cava is just when the two brachiocephalics merge together. That's for your upper body, and this is for the thoracic region of your upper body for bringing deoxygenated blood. Now, on the underside right here, you will see the inferior vena cava, which is going to allow you to bring deoxygenated blood from the actual lower body and abdomen region. Now, we have now so far bring deoxygenated blood from the upper body, the lower body, and now from the heart itself. This is the opening to the coronary ostium, or this is the ostia of the coronary sinus, and that's the opening for the coronary sinus, allowing you to bring deoxygenated blood from the great cardiac and the small and the middle cardiac veins. As we look into the right atrium, you'll notice that on the inner wall of the right atrium, you will see little striated patterning here. These are the pectinate muscles found in the atrias. As we look at the medial wall of the right atrium, you'll see what looks like little oval-shaped region right here. This is a scar tissue known as a fossa ovalis, which is a scar tissue formed when we are first taking our first breaths. And in utero, this is a real opening called the foramen ovale. So as blood goes into the right atrium, the next region it's going to go into is going to be the right ventricle. As it enters the right ventricle region, it will then need to go past the first set of valves. The valve between the atria and the ventricle on the right side is called the tricuspid valve, and the tricuspid valve contains these little string-like tendons called the chordae tendineae. The chordae tendineae then is attached to specific muscles here called the actual papillary muscles. Now, papillary muscles and the chordae tendineae are found on the right and the left ventricles. So they're very generic, non-specific to either side. On the right ventricle side, we can tell it's right ventricle due to the very thin margin of the cardiac muscle here compared to the other side. All right, very much thicker left ventricular wall. All right, as the right ventricle contracts, it's going to then eject blood into the pulmonary trunk by way of moving it through our second set of valves. This is your pulmonic valve. As you eject blood into the pulmonic valve, it goes up into the aortic trunk and up into the left and the right pulmonary arteries. When it goes into left and right pulmonary arteries, it'll eventually go to the lungs where you have oxygenation. When you oxygenate, then we're going to have movement of blood back from the lungs into the left side. So you see those arteries over here, letter G on each side. This is a left pulmonary vein and the right pulmonary vein. Again, when we have circulation to the lungs or from the lungs, it's kind of mixed up where the artery is going to be in blue and the vein is going to be in red. So here's the red. These are the pulmonary veins entering the left atrium. Now, the left atrium itself is pretty posterior. So as I open this up, you'll see that this is a left atrium, and in the left atrium, you see the opposite part of that fossa ovalis. As we move down from the left atrium, you're going to have the mitral valve separating the left atrium from the left ventricle. So this is the left ventricle over here. How do we know there's a left ventricle? Because of the size of the myocardium. This is the intraventricular septum that separates the two ventricles and makes sure that there's never any mixing of blood. Unlike the atrium, there should never be any holes or openings, even in utero, connecting these two sides. You will see the foraminal valley, but that only connects the two halves and the two sides of